Hello and welcome to another episode of the Choose Strong podcast, where you are not only a listener, you are our friend at the table. You're having a cup of coffee with us. You're having some form of electrolytes or hydration. Whatever it is, we welcome you to the conversation, and we are so glad that you have showed up with us today. Let's give a special shout out right away to our youth listeners, because most of the time those youth listeners are just hanging out for the first few minutes and then they wander away. They want to go play. And so before you wander away, kiddos, we just want to say that you are strong. Don't ever forget that. Remember, every day you get to choose it. And Eddie and Sally are always rooting for you. To everyone that has just started their run, a big shout out to you because, first of all, you showed up. And whether you are heading out for a 30-minute duration run or a 4-hour run on the trails, maybe you are on the treadmill right now and you're watching this on YouTube, we want to tell you that we are rooting for you, and we're so proud of you that you showed up for your workout today. By the end of this podcast, you're going to be a little bit fitter, a little bit better, no matter what pace you're going or how you're feeling right now. Know that every step that you're taking right now, it matters. And so we hope that as you run along and you listen to us in your ears, that you remember who you are, you keep that belief in the goal that you are working toward, and know that every time you take a step, you are that much closer to your goal. So well done. Now, Eddie, someone just commented just now as I was sitting down and said, this podcast is transcending far beyond the running community, which has always been our goal. Mm-hmm. And someone said we now have quilters and handymen listening, which made me giggle. Because, yes, that is what our hope is, that regardless if you are running, I know we always start off by saying hi to the kids and the runners. We are very well aware that people are now listening to this podcast during their workday, while they're making a meal, while they are commuting and just doing other things around the house. And I think that just gets us so fired up, because it's like we get to hang out with people in their real everyday life. So you do not need to be a runner to be part of the Choose Strong community. Our hope is that we build the biggest, strongest, best community in the world that is full of hope, support, encouragement, love, and just that constant message that your life is full of purpose and that you are full of strength. You are equipped, well equipped, for everything that is planned for your journey, for every day that you wake up. You actually have everything you need to get through whatever you're working through. And we are so glad to be a part of that.
Yes, we are. And you know what? We are honored to be a part of that.
Honored.
You know, it's a privilege to have people turn on this podcast and listen to us while they're doing whatever they're doing.
Now, if people are watching on YouTube right now, they're probably saying, how cute Eddie and Sally are matching, which we didn't
what they're
plan.
Saying.
They are.
They are definitely saying that.
They're thinking, oh my gosh, they're so cute.
That is so cute.
They're wearing gray sweatshirts and black hats.
I didn't notice that. I did notice the hat, though.
Well, this is the new Choose Strong hat, the latest edition. Now, I'll tell you what, the OG yellow hat, it's not going anywhere. If you can get your hands on one of those things, the thing's gold. If you wear it in a race, you will probably PR.
PR, yes.
If not, what I like to hear is that when people wear it, other people in the community are like, heck yeah, Choose Strong. And they're like, that's my friend. Yep. If you have the Choose Strong hat on and you see someone else that has the Choose Strong hat on, I encourage you, go up to them and say hello, introduce yourself, make a friend. That's what it's going to be. It's just the symbol of friendship, of receiving others, of courage, strength, and encouragement. And so if you see someone else wearing that hat, know that they are right there with you. They're part of the family. So, but let's talk a little bit about this black hat, Ed.
Okay.
I mean,
let's go for it. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to say?
I mean, first and foremost,
what should we say about this black hat?
Over a month ago, the podcast hit 1 million downloads.
Yes.
It hit 1 million downloads in only like 40 something episodes, which blew us away. We thought it would take a lot longer than that. But we wanted to celebrate it, and so many other things have happened within that time frame.
Yeah.
And so we thought, you know what? We knew this hat was already coming. Why not use this hat as a gift for 15 lucky people to celebrate the 1 million downloads? So I'll tell you what, people, before this hat even goes on sale, because it will go on sale. Yes, the yellow hat is going on sale too. This black hat is going to be sent to 15 lucky people. Eddie, tell us how you can get the Black Choose Strong hat.
Yes, the way you can get this beautiful looking black Nike trail hat with that yellow pop is you simply, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to have well, let me back up.
Yeah, why don't you just keep backing up? You just keep backing up. I mean, I'm backing up. I'm hearing the alarms. Yeah.
All right. I think we breezed over 1 million downloads. I think that is something to celebrate. And it's nothing that, certainly nothing that I bring to the table. And you definitely bring a lot of content, inspiration, encouragement to the table. And as you know, Sally.
Here he goes, people. But here he goes. Always trying to deflect.
I'm thinking it's more about the people. They listen. They're the ones that.
Because I certainly didn't listen to our podcast 1 million times.
But I think there's only about 42 people that listen to our podcast, but I think they just listen to it over and over and over again. Yeah. That hit 1 million.
That's kind of psycho. I think that's if that's what your evaluation is. That would be very scary.
No,
that would be stalker style.
But in all honesty, like that 1 million plays on a podcast that you started, that is pretty epic, and pretty amazing to hit that kind of that level. But yeah, I mean, it's the people listening, and so we want to thank the people for tuning in and spending time with us, whether, like we talked about, on a run or whatever you're doing. So we're really appreciative of you guys tuning in to listen to Sally and all that she's got to give to you. And so, yes, we're going to be giving away 15 hats, the black hats that are unavailable at the moment. Besides the ones that are on our head, nobody else has these. So they're very special.
Mackenzie's coach, Jim Roldan, has one.
Okay, we gave away one. But yeah, so it's a special treat. So we're going to give away 15, and the way that you are going to enter to win this special hat is we're going to put a like 1 million plays post on our Instagram, Choose Strong Podcast, and on that post, you are simply going to just tag a friend, and you're going to tell us what your coffee order is. That is what I'm talking about. Tag a friend, tell us your coffee order, and you will be entered to win a beautiful Nike black trail hat.
Really, we just want to find out who all the diva coffee drinkers are out there. Who's going to come in with the extra large mocha upside down with 4 extra shots of vanilla, extra whipped cream, non-fat milk. I mean, there's no shame in that.
Remember when back in the day we used to like go and mainly me, I think, but go and just get like the venti mocha frap, like pretty consistently.
It was a mocha. We didn't get frappuccinos.
No,
a ton.
I remember
you and I would. Well, actually, you would
get the frappuccinos, and it was like
your favorite.
A dessert.
It was like the cookie crumble.
Oh my goodness!
The caramel ribbon. The caramel ribbon frappuccino.
I haven't gotten one of those in a long time, but I remember those used to be. I mean, I would get those quite a bit.
And at some point during the day, you would go missing for about 30 minutes because those
30 minutes
absolutely destroy your intestines.
Yeah. It was not good on the belly.
Listen, let me just show you right now. My coffee order is we have a Nespresso machine. So I got a Nespresso Virtuoso con sucres y crema y collagen. Okay, there we go. And you have to say it in a different language. No, I'm just kidding. No, I have a Nespresso coffee. I've added heavy cream, the
Okay.
heavy whipping cream or whatever, the
Yeah.
heavy cream to it, which you use to make whipped cream.
Yep.
A little bit of brown sugar and a scoop of collagen protein powder. Whip that baby up with a little whisk. There's my coffee. But some people are just going to be like, dude, I like it just straight black, no cream, no sugar.
Yep.
Others are like, I love that vanilla, hot almond milk latte.
That is a good
All
one.
right.
That is a good.
So yeah,
that is a good one.
as you know, Eddie and I love coffee. We want to know what your coffee order is.
Yep.
Make sure you follow the podcast at Choose Strong Podcast. You tag a friend, tell us your coffee order, and we will be picking 15 people, and those hats will be mailed out in the next couple weeks. We're going to do this really quick. So at the time that this podcast is live, that post is already going to be up, and you know what to do.
You know what to do to get that hat. All right, so that's one of the things that we're doing to celebrate. But the second thing that we're doing
you don't even know
is
people.
gonna be amazing.
Amazing.
Sally, tell the people what we have planned.
We are really excited to do our first live podcast that will be streaming through the Choose Strong Podcast YouTube channel. We also have 2 special guests, surprise special guests that you'll learn about. But that is going to be Sunday.
This Sunday,
This
April
Sunday.
14th.
April 14th. You are going to be able to tune in at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yes.
So West Coast time. So that's going to be 7 p.m. for some. That's going to be
8 for some, 9 for some.
9 for some.
Might
and
be a
then
different
for
day for
our,
some.
Our international
you know?
listeners, I have not done the math, and I'm very sorry because I think for some of those people it's going to be 2 a.m. But it will stay. It will stay on the channel. So do not be discouraged thinking that you're going to miss it, because after it's live, it will sit on the channel. You can go back and watch it. However, if you're watching it live, you get to join in the chat.
Ooh.
And so we are going to be moderating the chat. We'll be taking some questions. We will be interacting with you. But we have a few fun things planned for that. And we have a few things in the work. And so this is going to be the first step in live podcasting for Eddie and I.
A live Q&A should be fun. Should be a fun way to celebrate 1 million plays on this beautiful podcast.
Mark your calendar this Sunday, April 14th, 6 p.m. PST. We will be coming at you live from the Choose Strong studio.
Boom. Well, you know what? Before we get into the wonderful things that we have planned today, I just want to wish everybody listening, even though this will be released after, I want to wish you a happy Masters Week.
Do you know when we were actually choosing the live podcast, he's like, well, that is the finals of the Masters, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be over by then. So yeah, we can do the show on that day.
If I show up late to the live show, that's why.
That's why.
Yeah.
Well, I think historically it is done by 6 p.m. because is the Masters on the West Coast? I thought it was on the East Coast.
It's on the East Coast.
Yeah. And so they better be done golfing at 9 p.m. at night.
Yeah. All right. That's all the wonderful announcements I think that I had. What?
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 Well, I just kind of wanted to touch in before we dive into anything else. We are just coming off of spring break here in the McCrae home here in Orange County, California. Most of the kids were on spring break this past week, and Mackenzie had a really big race. It was the Arcadia Invitational. For those of you parents that are grew up running in high school, you have heard of the Arcadia Invitational. If you have kids that currently run cross country or track, you have probably also heard of the Arcadia Invitational. It is a nationwide, very competitive track and field event.
Yeah.
It lasts a couple days here in Southern California. Last year, you know what, Mackenzie went, that's where she first broke her personal best in the 3,200, ran a 10:29, was so stoked, just skipped right over the 10:30s, went straight into the 10:20s. It was a really special day. She has been looking forward to that for the entire year, going back, which I think a lot of kids do. Now, because that race was on the Saturday of the spring break, typically our family, we like to go away for spring break. We like to do something fun. We usually don't go too far. Like a lot of times we'll just go to Palm Desert, maybe San Diego, just get away with the kids, spend time. But because the spring break was in the lead up to Arcadia, Mackenzie didn't want to go anywhere.
No, she did not. She didn't want to mess her
She
schedule
was laser
up.
focused.
Yep.
She did not want to disrupt her schedule. So we were like, oh, man. But Eddie was like, you know what? Isaiah and I are going to go and do something. So you and Isaiah decided to have a guys getaway, which was just so cute. You guys
cute.
went to LA, stayed in a cool hotel,
Mm-hmm.
and you went to a Kings game.
Yep.
Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you are probably seeing a little video pop up of our son who made it onto the Jumbotron.
Yes, he did.
And I think this is like one of the first times we have a buddy, Jason Humes, who works up in the studio for the Staples Center. I always call it the Staples Center. I can't just connect with the crypto center. But anyway, they're trying out these new filters from Snapchat.
Yes.
And Isaiah was probably the most perfect person they could have put the camera on.
Oh, yeah.
Because he is the most animated, creative kid I know. And so if you're on the YouTube podcast right now and you are seeing this video, I think I've watched it like 14 times because I cannot stop laughing.
Yeah, so good.
It was so good. Eddie, tell us a little bit about your night.
Well, yeah, so the Jumbotron was so good because we got there like at 6:00 and the game was at 6:30, and so we're watching them warm up, and we're just sitting there. They're playing music, and they started with those filters, and they would put it on a couple or one person, and they would do like one silly filter with like the eyes coming out and whatever. That person would do like a weird smile, and then they would go to someone else and do that, a different filter with someone else. But they saw Isaiah and did a filter on Isaiah, and Isaiah just thought it was the best thing in the world. So he full on like just went for it on this filter,
totally
and
engaged.
just was full on Isaiah, and did a great job with it. And so they did the second one on him. They did another one, right? So once they did the third one on him, I was like, I'm gonna get out my phone and take a picture of the Jumbotron because I didn't think I had time to, because they usually do it really quick. And then they did a fourth after I took a picture, and then like a fifth, and I was like, well, I should probably video it now. And so I started taking video. I mean, he did, I don't know how many he did, but he did a whole bunch, and he was getting a lot of laughs, and people were coming up to him while he was sitting there afterwards. Even the people that were working there were, trying to find seats and stuff. They're like, that was so good. You nailed it. Some guy was like eating nachos next to us. He's like, that was really good, man. That was really good. Anyway, so that was definitely a highlight for the Kings game. Obviously, the Kings game was fun, but yeah, you alluded to our friend Jason. He works in crypto.com, and he happened to be working that game that night, and so we got to tour upstairs. He works with the audiovisual department, and we got to tour afterwards his little office, and all the people that were up there were the ones that began to film, for these Snapchat filters and stuff. And as soon as we walk in, they started clapping and they started yelling out, "Legend! There he is, the legend!" So Isaiah was
Isaiah's a legend at the crypto center, apparently, with the Snapchat filters.
Well, it was funny because Jason, when we go to those games, Jason usually, hey, what seats are you in? And he'll let the cameraman know, or whoever he needs to let know, and they'll pan over to us, and we'll get up on the screen like once during the game. But this had nothing to do with Jason. So Jason was in his office up there, and all of a sudden, like, the people were working, and they start busting up. And so he comes out of his office, and he's like, what's going on? What's so funny? And he looks and he goes, "Oh, that's Isaiah." And they're like, "You know him?" He's like, "Yeah."
That's so rad.
So yeah, it was pretty fun.
So good. Our little entertainer. Super fun. So that was dad-son getaway. I think the last time that you guys did that when you're on your own was when he was like 9 or 10.
Yeah,
I think
young.
it was. See, when Eddie and I, when our kids were like 5th grade, we made this pact. Like, I would take Mackenzie away when she was in 5th grade for like a night over. Eddie took Isaiah away when he was in 5th grade for a night over. And we have the talk you have the uncomfortable talk, when they're in fifth grade, at least the beginning stages of it.
Yeah.
And all I remember is when you guys came back, I was like, how'd it go and everything. And all I hear is just stories of just, I'm like, did you guys even have the talk? Because it sounds like you guys just were screwing around the whole time playing. And...
Come on, you know how it is with boys. It's a process of talks. It's not just one talk and we're good. Yeah, we had fun.
But he still talks about that.
Oh, yeah.
He still talks about that getaway that you
yeah.
guys had when he was in fifth grade. It meant so much to him. And as the years have gone on, he always alludes to like, guys night or like let's go like just you and me, and like there's even a restaurant locally in town that you guys have gone to so many times that you will not take me and Mackenzie to. It's like your spot, your place where you go watch a game and you get food, and like Isaiah gets so excited that it's just you and him.
That's right.
It is really cute to hear about your little adventures and your getaways.
Yeah, we had fun, we had a good time, and then did the game. It was quick. We did the game and then we woke up and had a Los Angeles staple. We went to IHOP and had breakfast. And
is that a staple?
Yeah. Actually, I was looking up, like, where should we go for breakfast in the morning? I was looking up, and right by our hotel, there was this place called, like, oh man, I'm totally blanking on the name, like Cappy's Cafe or something. I don't know. It was like some old like diner kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be kind of cool. And by the time we got down there at like 8, there was a line around the building. I was like, oh nope, not going there. So that was probably the best place to go because it's an LA staple for breakfast. But yeah, we decided to go to IHOP. Can't go wrong with the big chocolate pancakes.
Bottomless pancakes.
And hit a few thrift stores on the way home and came home.
The
Good
thrift
times.
stores, I just like make my heart so happy because when I was in high school, that's where I shopped.
Yep.
Love thrift stores. I still love thrift stores.
Yeah.
And our kids are obsessed with thrift stores.
Yep. Still.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well done, Dad.
Fun times. This episode of Chew Strong is brought to you by Monukora Honey, also known as Honey with Superpowers. Manukora honey is single origin, rich, creamy, and the most delicious honey you've ever had. It's supercharged with unique antioxidants and prebiotics and has 3 times more than your average honey. Manukora honey supports immunity, aids digestion, boosts energy, and helps balance inflammation. It's a game changer, and all you need is 1 to 3 teaspoons a day. On top of that, Manukora honey has a natural antibacterial compound called MGO, only found in Manuka honey. So if you're looking for something simple and delicious to add to your wellness routine, we found your new healthy habit. Now it's easier than ever to try Manukora honey with the starter kit. Just head to manukora.com/Sally to get $25 off. The starter kit comes with an MGO 850 plus Manuka honey, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, plus a guidebook. Now, I love the jar and the squeeze bottle, but the extra pack of compostable honey sticks is perfect for whenever you're on the go. You can bring them with you when you're traveling or need a quick snack, running errands, and they are the perfect energy boost if you're out for a run or at the gym. That's manukora.com/Sally to get $25 off your starter kit. This is the ultimate honey. Indulge and try some Honey with Superpowers from Manukora. I'm sure that you'll love it just as much as these McCraes do over here. The consistency and the flavor are top notch. Let me tell you, give this honey a try.
We are going to dive in now to our Chew Strong podcast, Love.
That's right.
And,
yes.
We want to thank you guys for leaving those reviews, the ratings. It also allows us just to get to know you and the impact that the podcast is making on the community. They always help. So if you have a moment, leave a review or just a rating.
Yep.
Smash those 5 stars for
Smash
us.
those stars. Yes. All right. Let's highlight a few. I have 2 that gave some podcast love to us. The first one is from Apple Podcasts, from El Prado Vivo. All right. Constantly inspiring. Sally's message never ceases to inspire. She has a unique gift of finding that motivation in all of us. Bonus, Sally and Eddie's playful banter will always bring a smile to your day or your run. That is the truth. You know, when I banter with Sally, it brings a smile to my face.
Unless it's when we're in the car and I'm telling him how to drive.
Yeah. Oh, yes. No smiles. No smiles will be had at that moment. El Prado, we thank you for listening to us and getting motivation from Sally. Yeah, thank you. All right, next one and the last Choose Strong podcast love is from Sean Looney on YouTube. This actually goes back to, we didn't plan this very well, but you kind of mentioned something like this at the beginning, and if we would have done a better job of planning that, this would have fit right in. It says this, Eddie, my man, crushing that goal time like a champ. I'm a handyman by trade and remodeling my wife and I's first home, so I get a great joy of listening to y'all's podcast throughout my workday. Whether building a deck in the blistering sun, patching drywall in the cool AC, or cramped and sweaty in a 1980s Florida attic. Some days I'm blessed with a full 8 hours of Sally and Eddie. Listening to y'all's podcast makes it easy to choose strong in all that I do.
Sean Looney.
Dude.
That, I feel like we would be good friends with Sean if he lived in our neighborhood because we love all things building and renovation.
Yes, we do.
It is
right.
a continuous dream for Eddie and I to find another project. We want to renovate another house.
I'm itching. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Sean, great work. I love it. I love just like that idea of just getting your hands dirty and building something, making something better and improving something.
Yeah, something special about that.
There's something
for sure.
so special with it. So thank you for taking us along for 8
hours. My gosh.
I don't think that Eddie would ever want to listen to me.
I'm thinking
for 8 hours.
1.5 hours of Sally for me is like, hey, I'm tapping out.
Lies.
Let's
The truth is, when Eddie and I are not together during the day, how many times do we text and get on the phone and call each other?
You're always calling me. I'm like, I don't want to talk right now. I hate
You've
talking
never
on the phone.
said that. It's so good.
Yeah.
We're sending pictures via text. We are getting on the phone.
Yeah.
Especially if we're just in the car driving. It's like, oh, what are you up to? I mean, you know.
Hey, I just talked to you
makes sense.
5
8
minutes
hours.
ago. 8 hours is a long
8
time,
hours.
Sean. God bless you, man, because that is a lot of Eddie and Sally.
So good.
Yeah, thanks again for writing in, dude. We appreciate that. All right. I now am going to highlight a few of the listeners that have, you know what? They're all strong body this time. I kind of lumped them all in, and they all did a little strong body, and I want to highlight them. So the first one, and they actually all came from the Facebook group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Our
all
Choose
three of
Strong
them.
community on the Facebook group.
Yeah.
We would love for you to hop in on that.
in.
If you haven't already, you don't need to be active on Facebook. You just need to have a profile. So even if you want to come in with a nickname, I know some people just do not like Facebook at all. I 100% understand that. So if you just want to come in with a nickname and you're there strictly just to be a part of the community, there's a lot of great stuff in there.
Don't have that nickname be too shady because I don't know if
because then Eddie won't accept it. Yeah, it is a private group. Eddie goes in and individually accepts every person. So
it is a good group, though. There's a lot of great information going on in there with tips and just encouragement of people running, racing, training. And then obviously these three that I handpicked to share with you guys. The first one's from Mike Murphy. Mike says, I was 300 pounds heading into 2020. I lost 25 pounds that year and I started running. After 11 half marathons and 2 marathons on the roads, I've migrated over to the trails and I've picked out my first 50K, the Lula Lake Trailblazer on November 9th. Lots of miles, strength training, and learning to get in before then. Thankful to have this community to guide me along the way. Mike, big props to you, man. That is legit. If you went from 300 pounds to you're in the gym in this picture I'm looking at, and you're looking pretty strong, my friend. So well done. 11 half marathons and 2 marathons on the road. No joke. Way to get out there, man. And I think Mike has definitely benefited from the Choose Strong community group, as he mentioned. So, yeah, there's a lot of accountability and encouragement in that group when you're reaching for a goal. But Mike, strong body, man, good stuff.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. All right, next one is from the Facebook group also, Laura Owens. She has a bunch of pictures up there, and she said, my first 100K. It was tough, but I remembered to choose strong. And then she has some beautiful pictures of the yellow hat, sporting it during her race, her first 100K. Well done, Laura. We are stoked for you, proud of you, and that's a big distance to check off the list. All right. Last one, we have Jenny Handlin from the Facebook group. Jenny says, hey, Choose Strong family, I hope everyone is doing well. I had my second Special Olympics track meet yesterday, and I came in third place in the 200-meter run with a time of 48 seconds, and my softball throw, and second place in the 2x50 relay. Jenny, well done. And she actually has a video of her running the, I think it's the 200. And Jenny is cooking. Looking good, Jenny. Special Olympics, third place? Yeah, third place. So pretty awesome.
Amazing. Mike, Laura, and Jenny, thank you so much for writing in. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. It not only inspires Eddie and I, but just everyone that is listening. Really appreciate it. And keep choosing strong.
Yeah. All right, Sal, let's move into the bulk of what we're talking about today.
Yeah. Today, there's a couple big topics that we are discussing that I think will not only resonate with those of you that are working toward a running race or an Ironman, a bike race, a CrossFit challenge. You know, we really want to talk about what it means to be training consistently, even if you're training for a B goal, not just the A goal.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we can very easily become discouraged when we feel stuck in our training, when we feel stuck in a goal, when we feel like we are missing the mark, or if we just feel completely unfulfilled in our career, in a relationship, and where we are in our life. We really want to use this time today to encourage you and to offer some insight that you can apply, some insight and tips that you can apply to your life that's going to help you moving forward. And I think also just kind of dissect some perspectives that we see online that often make us feel like, wow, everyone is doing something great, and is what I'm doing great? And so I kind of want to tackle that, just the value and the purpose of your work. And then the second thing that we wanted to highlight is you, Eddie, because I've been getting just face-to-face questions. I've been getting some messages through my social media. People are really curious about how your recovery is doing, how you're moving forward. If you have made another goal, you know, many times when we set ourselves up for a big goal, there's kind of like a progression that happens after we cross that finish line or after we achieve that goal. It's like, okay, what's next? You and I experienced this right after we got married, right? It's like, we got married after 4 years of dating. When are you having kids?
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like, when's your second kid? And then it's, you know, and there's nothing wrong with those questions at all. I welcome them because I think that, you know, your life, you should always be reaching toward the next thing, and not even like what's the bigger, better thing. It's just like, what are there's one finish line in life. And so like, what are the steps that you're taking now? Where is your path going? Where is your focus each and every day? And sometimes it's on really big things, and sometimes it's working on the smaller details. And so if you can just take a minute, tell us how you're feeling physically, and then what you're focusing on right now.
Yeah. So it's been exactly 3 weeks, 3 weeks yesterday since I've ran the marathon.
Since you became a marathoner.
Since I became a marathoner. Well, guess what, folks? It's been 3 weeks, and I have not run since.
There you go, people.
There you have it.
He has not run a step.
I have not ran a lick.
The marathon. How does that feel? Are you missing running? Are you enjoying that break? Because I'll tell you what, I know that professional road marathoners will very often take 6 to 8 weeks off of training.
Yeah.
I'm not saying off of movement. Like
right.
They'll get out and do it's 6 to 8 weeks off of that structured training ramp up. Here we go again, which I think is really healthy.
Yeah. That, so I have not run. Part of it has been because of my hip still is not quite right. I can feel it when I, do certain movements or when I walk in a certain way. So I'm really trying to give that some time. And I have been getting back in the gym. I've been lifting weights, and that's been nice. I just didn't do that when I was running. I didn't have time. I guess I can't say I didn't have time, but I didn't make time for it. Probably should have. Looking back on how my legs ended up, I should have probably spent a lot more time, doing the little things on the legs and the knees and stuff like that in the gym, but I just didn't do it. But now it's been good going back in and getting lifting some weights again. So but no, I haven't ran at all.
Do you miss it?
I do sometimes. I miss being outside, in the sun. But there's days where I do miss the run, but it's not like, oh man, I can't wait to get back out there. It's not like that.
Do you prefer like that idea of like, just going out for 30, 45 minutes and running, or do you miss like the long runs?
Yeah, well, I did like the long runs because they're just slow slogs out there, and I just,
Really?
Sorry, coach, but here's the real deal. I just miss being outside for a couple hours, like, walk jogging and taking it all in, and
that feeling when you're done and
the
you come
feeling
back.
when you're done is like,
isn't it so good after a long run?
Feeling.
There's just something like it feels good when you're spent.
Yeah,
it feels good when you've taken everything out of yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're like, wow, I feel tired, but like I hammered out 10 miles. Like this feels amazing.
Yeah, that's true. I miss that actually. Yeah. But I have a new plan. You ready for my new plan?
Folks, this is the first time I am hearing this, but I'll tell you what, we do have some similarities, and he does have new goals like every Monday.
Yeah.
It could be an eating goal. Like this week, I'm only eating salads and veggies. I'm not kidding. Like ever since I've known him, it's really sweet, but Eddie's very goal oriented. Do not let him fool you. So I have a new plan. This doesn't surprise me. This is not a shocker. And I'm pretty sure that I could probably pinpoint what he's going to say, but just go ahead.
Speaking of new goals that you just brought to my attention, I think I'm hurting today because last week my goal was to
Here we go. The food.
eat a whole bunch of jelly beans and chips and pizza. So today I'm not doing well. So I do need to come up with a food goal this week.
Eddie and I have been together for 26 years, over 26 years.
Has it really?
Yeah.
That's a long time.
We've known each other since we were 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 25 years because we started dating when we were 19.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that is consistent year round is that Eddie still eats like an 18-year-old. You love your Jack in the Box tacos.
Whoa. I have not had that in a long time.
You love your Wiener Schnitzel chili cheese dogs.
Easy. I haven't had that in years.
You love your nerd rope.
Okay, yeah. But Wiener Schnitzel and
I know, that takes
Jack
it
in the
way
Box,
back.
That
was like our first years married.
Yeah, I can't touch that.
I would sometimes open up the trash can and be like, "Did you literally go and get 4 crunchy tacos?" You're like, "Sally, they are the best."
They're only like 99 cents for like 2. So
and then I was like,
I
"How you feeling?" Yeah,
not good.
Yeah,
all right.
Not
so
good.
Here's my goal. This is what I came up with. I am going to start it today.
Okay, Monday. Monday's the start day.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna run 3 miles for the next 6 days. Every day, 3 miles. And I'm also going to do like 30 minutes of weights. So that's my new. Why you laugh? You're turning red.
There's so many times like in Eddie's training where he'll do this, and me and Mackenzie just cry because we're like, where is like where did you come up with that? Like where the last one that you did was really funny. It was like every day I'm running 6 miles or 10 miles like or something for like out of nowhere though. There's no like build up to anything. He's like every day I'm running 6 miles, and you did it for like 10 days or something like that. And it was like nothing was different.
What do you mean?
It was there was nothing different within the 6 miles. It wasn't like,
oh no, yeah,
I'm gonna run a tempo. I'm gonna do a fart. Like I'm gonna do some hill sprints. I'm gonna do like same. It was just I'm doing it. And then Mackenzie and I were like, and then what? Like what do you build it? Nothing.
We'll see.
That's just what I'm doing. Like that's my goal. And like for this, I love it. 3 miles is great. You're getting what? 40 minutes of cardio for 3 minutes.
Whoa, easy. Easy.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Are you forgetting I beat your marathon time? Is that you're trying to rub something in here?
Okay, here
Get
we
back
go.
At me? Okay.
Here we go.
All righty.
The thing is, the laughter is just like, I laugh because I try to envision you sitting on the couch in the early morning because you like to get up super early morning with your notebook.
Okay. Where are you going with this?
You write so much stuff in your notebook. And I can just see you like looking out the window thinking about what's the next goal.
So true.
And you're like 3 miles and weights for the next, I don't know.
6 days.
6 days?
Oh, man. Whoa.
But the thing is, you do it.
I'm going to do it. I told you I will
do it.
Yeah,
and I don't doubt that for a second.
Yep.
But then I get so excited for the following Monday when you have a whole new goal.
Oh, man. Yeah, so.
And you know what, Eddie? I admire you for always setting goals for yourself because
Thanks,
I think you understand that when you set a goal that motivates you.
It does.
You want to accomplish it.
Yep.
You find fulfillment in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for our listeners who are having a tough time with maybe like finding that mojo or getting that motivation, or they're feeling overwhelmed, or it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I don't have time to do anything right now. It is understanding that even the smallest goals, they produce confidence and reveal the value and consistency that set you up for the bigger things down the road.
Yeah.
And so if you're in that busy season in life, or you are feeling like, dude, I'm not motivated to do anything, I actually don't even want to go and run, I say, okay, tell yourself that every day you're going to do something for 15 minutes. And it could just be, I'm just going to go outside and walk around my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many times throughout my career where I have been so overwhelmed as a mom, as a business owner, just normal stress in life. And I have not wanted to train, but I put on my shoes and I will just go outside and walk for like 10, 15 minutes. And then pretty soon I'll start my run.
Yeah.
Like within that. Originally, I was like, no, I'm taking the day off. I'm so tired. I'm so overwhelmed. This day was just a terrible day. So I'm going to chalk it up to a terrible day. And tomorrow I'm going to have a reset. Or, which is very popular, and I've done this so many times in my life, Monday I'm going to start. It's Thursday. Like this whole week has been terrible. And here we are on Thursday. And like, could it get any worse?
Yep.
Okay, Monday, I got a whole new goal. I'm going to carve it out. These next couple of days, I'm going to eat whatever I want. Actually, I'm going to eat in excess and excess of all the things. I'm going to beat myself up because it's been a bad week and I'm just not going to do anything. And then Monday is like a fresh new day. Well, here's the thing. Life and your body do not wait for Monday. We don't know the trajectory of our days, our life, what life is going to bring. Life does not wait for Monday.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we do. You have the opportunity to start today. Today is the new day. Today is all you have. You're not guaranteed tomorrow.
Yeah, true.
So what can you do today? So if you're listening to this right now, it hasn't been a great day. And you're feeling like, dude, I have this huge workout to do, which I don't want to do. I have so much on my plate. I want to encourage you, take 10 minutes for yourself today, because the reality is we also are good at wasting our own time, whether it's wasting our time scrolling on social media, watching something on Netflix, or whatever. We're just, distracted. Mm-hmm. How about you set that alarm? You give yourself 10 minutes. You go walk outside, or you get on that, get down in the basement, lift some weights for 10 minutes, do something. You're going to click back into this mindset of, I am worth it. I need this. This actually makes me feel better. Not every workout and what we do needs to be like hard hitting, intense. So I would just want to take that back to what you're saying. The run 3 miles, lift for 30 minutes. That is such an attainable, great way to also build back in your fitness after you've taken a break for 3 weeks.
Yes.
I highly recommend the hour workout. Yeah. I love that. I love the 30. I love the duration workout too. Mm-hmm. The time duration workouts as opposed to mileage and pace. When you're easing back into something or you've lost your mojo, don't worry about pace and distance. Just say, I'm going out for 10 minutes. I'm going out for 20 minutes. There have been times in these past 3 weeks where you have done something every week in the past 3 weeks. You do go to the gym a lot. It's a lot of times you're doing mobility stretching and you go in the sauna. Mm-hmm. And from my perspective, I'm like, that's great. You're working on yourself. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go and do this hardcore 85 minutes of lifting heavy. But when you walk into the gym and you go sit on the mat and you're doing mobility and you're stretching, you're making your body better. And then you go and sit in that sauna, and it's really cool because you've also shared that every time you go into the sauna, you see a buddy from around town. So then you're like connecting with friends and you're having these conversations and, you're catching up with other people's lives.
Yeah. Until I'm in there. So I'm in there for 15 minutes and then he's like rolls in and starts talking about his kid and how everything's going at the high school. And I'm like dying. I'm like trying to pay attention. I'm like, dude, I'm about to melt. I can't even understand what you're saying.
That's so true.
I'm like slowly walking towards his exit. He's still going. I'm like, oh, dude, I lost you about 5 minutes ago.
You're about to have heat stroke.
So hot.
He's like telling you about a family member that's ill in the hospital. They don't know if they're going to make it.
How do I walk out on that?
You have no water left in your water bottle.
Oh, man. Yeah.
But all that to say, a reminder to our community, listen, the setting a goal for yourself, whether it's you begin on Monday, you begin on Thursday, you begin right now as soon as this podcast is over, or maybe while you're listening to this podcast, listen, your life is valuable. It's full of purpose. And again, that's the meat of what we are talking about today. And you have to understand that everything you do, it is valuable. I know there's that saying, don't take yourself too seriously, don't take life too seriously. I think that really applies to our mistakes, to our imperfections. When you fail, don't take it so seriously. It's literally a part of your life. You're going to fail.
Yeah.
You're going to look lame sometimes. You're going to be embarrassed. You're going to miss the mark. You're not going to achieve what you want to achieve every single time. Don't put so much weight on that. But you should take seriously the time and effort that you put into your life day in and day out. That is so precious. So I love this new goal that you have for yourself.
I'm glad you approve. You
know that I tease you out of so much love. Yes. But that is something I've always admired as your partner.
But yet, as you were saying that is partly why I made this goal. Is 3 miles is like coming off of not running for 3 weeks. That's doable, right? 3 miles, like you can trudge out 3 miles, jog, walk, run, whatever, right? You can get 3 miles in. And I felt that was a good way to segue back into, running a little bit. So that is why I chose 3. And second reason.
And 3 doesn't sound so daunting.
No.
Like if it was like 8 miles a day and 35 minutes of lifting, like, dude, that's a
right.
solid, that's a solid chunk of your day.
Exactly. And Part of it was I haven't finished Welcome to Wrexham yet. I'm so close to finishing.
And here it is.
So that'll give me 25, 30 minutes each day to really knock these episodes out, So
Right.
I can be done with that.
Right.
Anyways.
So this new goal of yours is like, this is going to be you getting the gym bag out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting the gym bag.
Getting the gym bag. You're going to the gym for this.
Going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might go outside. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, I'm going.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm proud of you for making that goal. I have to do the follow-up question because if I don't, the community will get upset with me.
Oh yeah, what is
Are
that?
you signing up for another race? And if so, what is the distance?
So,
you're welcome, listeners. You're welcome.
Wow, yes. The progression is you run one and then you run another one, right? Or you run. I mean, I see. What was that one guy wrote? Eddie runs Cocodona 250. No, that's not happening, my friend. Not happening.
Marathon, 250 miles.
Nope, not
when
happening.
you're married to me, it is. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. No, I have not signed up for any other race. Actually, I think I'm already kind of in the system for the half marathon.
For Surf City?
Yeah, like
I mean, every year. Yeah,
but
every
other
year,
than that,
that's
I
a
do not
classic.
have my sights set on another marathon. I did not sign up again for LA. At this point, I have checked that off the list and I am good. But, yeah. So at this point, no, I do not have another race I'm looking at or want to do.
Well, I love that. I think that's
No.
the bucket list. I mean,
Yeah.
for some people, that is how they're going to feel about certain distances. I mean, I've had buddies who they love the 50K on the trails, and they're like, dude, I feel like I kind of have to do a 50 mile or I have to do 100, and they go and do it and they don't like it. And they're like, dude, that took so much out of me. Or they just genuinely like, I don't like doing 6-hour long runs all the time and being away from home all the time. Like, I love that I can train for a 50K pretty much the exact same way you train for a marathon. They love that.
Yeah.
But I also feel like the marathon is a very special distance. Completing a road marathon is something that a very small percentage of people will ever say that they were able to do. And for a lot of those people, it's like, yeah, I did one and that was it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy with my 5Ks and 10Ks. I know that you enjoy the half marathon distance. Over the years, you've always said, like, it works very well with your life.
Yeah.
Like, you're still able to find balance running 3 to 4 days a week. Like, you don't feel like it takes so much out of you.
Yep.
And so, yeah, to people listening, I personally, and I'm doing these 250 mile races, I don't feel like there is this gold star distance that you have to do in running, both in trail and on the road. I think it's important that you do what excites you, what brings you the most enthusiasm. And guess what? Which is so cool about all of us, your interests and curiosity, they change over the years.
Yep.
When I first heard about 200s, I was very, very adamant about saying I will never do that distance. I had no interest in it. I actually thought it was just kind of it's its own event. It is not the same as 100 at all. You can't pace it the same. You don't train for it the same. There's a lot of different variables, and I knew that. And I think I just wasn't interested. Love the 100 too much. 100-mile specialists. Now, after doing them, I'm like, oh, dude, what else can I do? So, but I love that it's okay to say, like, I'll never do a marathon. That doesn't mean that you should be embarrassed 4 years down the road when you're actually curious about it suddenly. Yeah. Like, lean into that curiosity. So you have checked the marathon off the list. And right now you don't have the desire to do another one. You don't have the desire to now jump into ultras. And I think that is very real and very true to who you are. Yeah. I've seen you do that a lot just in your life. You're like, I want to accomplish this. And you go and do it and you move on to something else. Yeah. Okay, now I want to do this. And yeah, I think that's a fun way to, to live life. It's like people that want to tag all the national parks, right? Yep. You go and one and done. You go and see it. It's beautiful. You loved it. You love the experience, the memories that you made there. Awesome. Moving on to the next national park. And I think that seems to be where you are.
Yeah.
Wanted to do the marathon. I did it, checked it off, moving on to other things now.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe this time next year you'll be gearing up for your first ultra.
Ooh.
And maybe maybe you're just happy crewing in that space.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I do appreciate the consistency that I had as I was training for it. Obviously, aside from, my hip and some things that flared up and my back and, wasn't ideal, but it was, looking back, I really felt good. I felt good in the sense of like, my insides. I felt healthy. I felt like, when you're working out consistently, you're running for a long time and you're watching what you're eating, what you're putting into your body, I just felt good, right? Like I do miss that. Not going hardcore, I've been consistent this past 3 weeks, but not running. Running is it does something to your body, right? Like it does something in a good way to your body where you just feel good. And I do miss that. So it was good to train for a marathon and check that off the list. But I do want to get back into that consistency of being disciplined and just for the sake of being healthy, but yeah, so that's where I'm at.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, we will be checking in with you throughout to see how those goals progress throughout the year. I mean, This week's goal is going to be awesome.
I know it is.
I love it. It's so you, Eddie. But like I was saying earlier, I love that you see the value in goals. It doesn't matter what the goal is. It's the fact that you're always setting goals and wanting to stick to something. And I think that's a really powerful way to live your life.
Yeah.
Knowing we can all be working towards something and it can look different for all of us. And this is, at the root of do the work. That's what that is.
Yeah.
You do your work and I'll do mine.
Yep.
But we all should be working on growing, on learning, on bettering ourselves. There's always work that we can do physically, internally, emotionally, and that should be a really strong mark of our lives for all of our days, is that we can always be working on something. So I'll be keeping tabs on you this week.
Speaking of doing the work, putting in the work, Western States.
Yes.
Training. Yeah. How's it going? Where are you at with it? We did reveal your coach. You got a stud coach.
Jason Coop.
Yes.
Best in the business.
Best in the biz. And how's it going?
It's going good. It's hard. The training is, I was gifted a spot at Western States through my sponsor, Inside Tracker.
Yeah.
Originally, I had other plans for 2024. And I didn't really see myself going, even when it was offered to me, I was like, I don't know. I know what Western States training entails.
Yeah.
And how I felt after completing the Grand Slam, I'll be honest, it was, I really did a number on my body.
Yeah.
There's a reason why only a dozen people have ever completed the Grand Slam. It is very hard on the body. Now I will say I am so grateful to have such a durable body. I didn't get injured. I get comments all the time like, oh, but how are your knees? My knees and ankles are fine. Yeah. My hips are fine. Everything is fine. I had the skin on my feet was really, the painful part, but like my body held up.
It is pretty incredible how strong your body proved to be after all that.
I was very, it gave me a whole new appreciation, a whole new layer of confidence. And if anything, made me more curious about what I'm capable of. But I would have never known that had I not embarked on the Grand Slam. So 2024 was going to be some other projects that I had in mind that were pretty scary.
Yeah.
And training for Western States, there's a lot that goes into it as a pro. So for those of you that are listening, Western States is the most it's the oldest 100-mile race, the most prestigious. I'd say it's the most competitive, most well-known in the world, probably next to UTMB, Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc.
Mm-hmm.
And so for a professional, there's a lot of pressure going into it, a lot of very high expectations, and you feel that. And because, I'm a coach myself, and I was feeling the effects of the Grand Slam, I really went back and forth with accepting the spot at Western States, because I thought, I don't know if I can get my body back into that kind of form fast enough. So that was a little hard the first few months. In fact, I only trained duration based. I had to discipline my mind, because I can get really hard on myself as far as like hitting paces and distances, mileage every week. And so I said, I have to show myself grace. I'm only going to train duration based. So I'm going to go on a 60-minute run instead of saying, okay, you need to go on a 10-mile run. I'm going to only go on, I'm going to go train in the gym for 40 minutes instead of saying I need to hit this many reps and sets. And that was really good. But I was feeling really tired and weak, and just like I needed to sleep a lot more. There was a lot of things that I needed to build back up into. When you watch the progression of Western States, especially people that are working at getting like the golden tickets and things like that, I mean, they're racing so hard out of the gate in January and February. And I was in no form to race in January and February. So being able to have the gift of a spot there has allowed me to work through like trying to build my body back up again to get it strong again. And I feel like now here we are, April, I'm just now feeling fitness again. So it's taken like a solid 6 months to recover and build fitness. So I really do think it's a gamble how I will be on race day. I don't know if it's enough time for me, but that's another reason why I have a coach.
Yep.
Jason Coop is incredible. He's incredibly encouraging. He definitely helps me believe in myself in this path. But, we're 11 weeks out, and I always finish every week telling myself, oh my gosh, I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of work to do if I'm going to hang in the competitive field. I would have loved probably a whole year of building, for something like that. But I'm going to do the best with what I have. I'm going to very dedicated, to the training. The training is really hard. A lot of workouts, a lot of like long run workouts that just absolutely decimate me. I am heading up to the Western States course this week. By the time this podcast comes out, I'll already be back home. So, but I'm going to go up there, train with my coach, and get some good, really hard miles in. We have a mini training camp up there. For me personally, I like doing training camps on the race course. I don't think you have to. We have internationals, and I've raced internationally for most of my career. I would do really well without ever getting on the course or ever even seeing it.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like that runners have to get on a course in order to perform well. But I'm a very visual person, and I already know the Western States course like the back of my hand. Right. I'm up there in some capacity every single year. I love that course. Yep. But it is valuable for me mentally to go and actually train on the course, to make memories and experiences on the course, and to cement those in for race day. Yep. So yeah, it's hard. It's humbling.
Yeah, I feel like this is the first time I don't even remember the last time, but you like are anxious and like nervous about your workouts.
Yeah,
like
I actually am.
Yeah, like I haven't seen that in a long time with you.
Yeah, because Jason and I had to have this conversation because he looked at my training, which every good coach does. He looked back across like my training, especially the last few months prior to me getting on his roster. And he's like, I'm going to consolidate your effort and put it into very specific things because my volume is so massive. And that's never a problem for me. Volume isn't a problem. Like if you tell me we're going to run 150 miles a week, I'm like, all right, like I'm going to do that. And I have a lot of belief in my body and my ability to handle the volume, but he is consolidating the intensity and putting it in to longer durations on very specific days. And like, wow, it's real. Like I get, 50 mile, to go out and run like 20 miles, but have 50-minute tempo inside of that is, it's really hard when you're running up the side of a mountain and through canyons and, but doing that multiple times a week, how can your body perform well over and over and over again? I get really nervous, but that's just because I care too. I really care about my training, and I understand too that, for this particular race, you have to be able to climb hard and run fast. Whereas a lot of races that you can kind of pick and choose, like you can pick a race in accordance to your own strength. If you're really good at altitude and there's massive climbing, like those are your strengths, like you're going to do really well at that race. Yeah. Other people will choose races that have way less climbing, and maybe it's run on fire roads. It's a 50K with 2,000 feet of climbing, or they do races on a track where you're just hunkering down and just clicking off the miles, and it's flat. You have to worry about navigating. So that's what I love about ultra running is you can really find races that fit your strengths. But to have a race that's 100 miles where you have to be able to climb hard, run fast, and manage both wintry conditions at altitude, the first 50K, and then extreme heat in the middle of the race through canyons. I think that the Western States is a very miscalculated course that spectators actually have a hard time understanding the variable strengths that you have to have in order to excel. Yeah. And your fitness has to be so peak on that race day. There's not a lot of room for error in this race. So if you didn't train for one part, it's going to come out on race day. If you didn't train in climbing, that's going to come out on race day. If you didn't train speed, that's a massive miss, especially for the last 55K of the race. Yeah. So training for all of that over and over and over again every single week is, it's taken a lot of energy out of me.
Taxing, yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good. I like to grow. I like to learn. I want to get better. That is the goal for Western States. I want to kind of dive into the other part of this podcast, and that is when you are working toward a goal and that already your A goal will not be met, and what it means to continue on working in something where it's going to be hard. You actually vary in your enjoyment of what it is that you're doing. And then also the third aspect is when you're working toward a goal that the fulfillment feels so far away. I mean, years away. Or maybe it's something you just cannot see. Earlier this morning over coffee and breakfast, you and I talked about how your lead up to your first marathon was a really great parallel to life. Yeah. And we learned, no less than 4 weeks into your marathon training that the original goal that you had running a sub 4 hour marathon, being able to feel strong and physically, confident, that was going to be a gamble. And so that A goal, as the months went on, you had to set that aside. Yeah. And then focus on the B goal. I just want to talk a little bit about that, what that was like for you, and maybe even why you felt like continuing on when maybe you could have just decided to run the marathon next year where you could get your A goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I obviously going into it, I would have loved to have dipped under 4 hours. That was goal A.
You had
priority.
You had the fitness for it.
Yeah, I felt like I could have done that, but yes, as you said, a month in, having some back issues, not sleeping, and just not enough time to really ramp up some of the faster stuff to allow me to do that and get under that 4-hour mark. I was okay with transitioning to a different goal. And again, I wanted to just finish it at that point, and I wanted to. I mean, come on, let's be honest. The A goal was to beat your time. All right, so we checked that off the list. But like A2 was to get under 4. But no, I the B goal was to finish and check off. You ran a marathon, right? Like that was B, and I decided to not, push it off a year and really give it that time because to be honest, it wasn't about a time for me. It wasn't about getting 3:52 or whatever that time goal was. It wasn't necessarily about that. It was about like what most people do for their first marathon or first long distance race. It's to have that experience, to know that your body can go that distance, and the time piece was kind of gravy. It's like the extra, like, oh, dude, if you got it, you got it. If not, yeah, whatever. You finished a marathon. So the B goal for me was to finish, and yeah, I felt like the B goal became the A goal, right? Mm-hmm. Like in a sense, because that was something that I set out to do, and I was able to do it. And again, we talked about this before. I would have pushed it off if I really wanted to complete a marathon, if I was like seriously hurt and I couldn't run at all, or it was just stupid of me to push. Right. And it never got to that point. So I was able to kind of say, you know what, I'll push through what's the discomfort, and yeah, I'll finish this as a B goal.
Mm-hmm. So pivoting from what your ideal situation would have been like, and I think that's kind of where I want to hang. Yeah. Is we start off as kids, big imaginations. Mm-hmm. We get into high school, we think about what if we are going to go to college or trade school, or maybe we already know what career path we want to go into after high school. Mm-hmm. We have ideas and dreams set up for ourselves. And how often is it that we say at some point in our life when things aren't going our way, this is not how I envision my life being. This is not how I expected it to be. Yeah. I don't like this. I don't like where I am. Is this worth it? I think that even when I started coaching you for the marathon, I found myself saying that because I did my first marathon over 20 years ago. Yeah. And up until that time, you and I always trained soccer together. Mm-hmm. So we have always shared in sport together. Yeah. And soccer was our life. Yeah. As college athletes, we took it seriously, and it was at the core of every day. Mm-hmm. That was more important to us than even our studies. That was the focus. Yeah. And when I started running, that wasn't something that we did together anymore. And I think,
well, we did. Initially we did. I remember going down after school, after teaching, coming
with your
with
Dr.
you.
Pepper on your bike?
No. Well, I guess not all the time, but occasionally I would go run like 6 miles
with me
down by the beach with you. Yeah. And then once you started going past 6, I was like, all right, I'm getting on my bike. And then once you started going really far, I'm like, all right, I'll meet you at mile 20 with a water.
With the water.
But yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Sure. Things started to change there. But I think it was really exciting for me when you decided to train for marathon. So I obviously thought about it one way. We even talked about the training plan and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess the point I'm trying to make is it is easy to give up when things are not panning out the way that you expected them to be.
Mm.
And sometimes we use that as a reason to say, this is my sign.
Mm.
This is the sign that I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
This is a sign that this is dumb. I'm foolish. This wasn't a good idea. And I think in life, that's like, that's the beauty of the freedom we have to make those choices. Because sometimes there are things that pop up and you're like, oh gosh, this is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the way I expected it to be. But it's, how do we determine when to keep going?
Mm.
I know I get this question so often, and sometimes it's out of concern. People say like, wow, it looks like you're really beating yourself up, especially in those 200s. People are like, why would you keep doing that? That sounds stupid.
Yeah.
Tahoe was a really classic one
Mm-hmm.
where people are like, you were sick. Why didn't you stop? And personally for me, my response inside, I don't write this back to people, but it's like, you can't feel what I feel.
Mm.
If you were inside my body and my mind, then maybe you'd understand what I understand. And crossing that finish line was a massive message to myself
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes you just have to keep going to see what happens.
Yeah.
How is this all going to turn out? I don't know. I don't know where it's going to lead me. But I think many times our determining factor is the level of discomfort that we are willing to endure.
Mm-hmm.
And discomfort is hard. Why would I keep doing something if I'm uncomfortable?
Yeah.
When I could go do that thing, or I could wait, I could put this on the back burner to wait for the time that I'm comfortable. And so is life about finding where we can be most comfortable? And is that the way that we achieve? Is that the way we grow? Is that the way that we discover what we're capable of? Is it by seeking comfort? And you moved through marathon training and the race uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Do you regret doing the LA Marathon?
No, not at all. I definitely don't regret it. I was in discomfort, especially that last 6 miles. 6 miles, I wanted to just walk it in, and it was it was rough. It was painful. Discomfort was level 10, but no, I looking back, it was definitely something that I would have regretted if I quit. Right? Like, but no, I think I'm stoked that I got it done. I pushed through that discomfort of those last 6.
Do you have any permanent damage because you pushed through?
No, 0 permanent damage. 0. Yeah.
So this past weekend, Mackenzie raced in the Arcadia Invitational.
Mm.
And as I said at the beginning of the podcast, she was very excited about racing again in Arcadia. This year, she got into the invite heat,
Mm-hmm.
which is an honor. That's I think
honor.
It's a great accomplishment. This is a nationwide race,
Yeah.
and so to be considered in the invite heat is a big deal.
Yep.
And she was running the 2 mile, 3,200 meters. And for months, she has talked about this race. And I try to be very relaxed and more hands-off with Mackenzie's goals, her training, what it is that she's doing. I am not her coach. I do get asked that. I do not coach her. I think Mackenzie will have a lot of coaches in her life. She only has one mama, and that's who I am to her. She's aware of what I do for a living, and so she does come to me often for mental training and all of that. If she's nervous, if she is anxious, she will come to me. Sometimes she'll call me on the track and just, hey, can you just come over here and I'll pray with her. Just tell her I love her. There's nothing like super special that that I have outside of like just kind of reminding her of who she is and that I believe in her and I love her. But I've done my best over the years to help her understand that she gets to own her strategy and what it is that she wants to do out there. So I ask her, what's your strategy? What do you want to do? And her goal has always been for that race was to improve upon her 3,200 meter time, which is
10:22.
Yeah, 10:22. That was her PB from state last year, which is the end of May. Arcadia last year, she ran 10:29. That was the first time that she had a big breakthrough. She went from like 10:40s, skipped over the 10:30s, went right into the 10:20s.
Yeah.
Very fast.
Super
She's
fast.
a quick girl. And so when I asked her, Kenz, what do you want to do tonight? What's your strategy? It's this, dude, there's a lot of people on the track, Mom. There's like 30 girls on the track. That's a lot. There's a lot can happen. A lot of tripping, pushing, shoving. If you don't get out in the front right away, you can get boxed in and stuck in the middle. But she just kept saying, Mom, I'm in a PR. This is such a fast group of girls. Like she was so excited about the prospect of breaking that 10:22 time. She wanted to be in the low teens, which I think she's capable of. You look at her training and everything that she's doing. She should be running a low 10. And so we arrive at Arcadia a couple hours before a race. The stands are packed. You're smiling.
No, I was just thinking like, because last year she was not in that invite heat. She was the Friday night, just in the seated
the
heat.
seated race.
And I just remember last year when we got there, we had our choice of where we wanted to sit. Like we were standing up on the bleachers, we were moving around. And this year, once you're in that invite heat, it's
you could barely move.
Jam-packed. We were standing room
only. The whole
only
stadium was
both sides of the state. Yeah, so it's just an epic.
Well, I don't think people understand too. I didn't know this until Mackenzie started racing track. High school meets many times are more packed than college meets. It's insane. The number of spectators at these invitationals, it's amazing. The support that they get at the big invitations. I'm not talking about like high school dual meets, but even the dual meets, I feel like there's a lot of, because you have so many parents and friends and schoolmates. So college sports sometimes hit a little different for the track. Like sometimes it's just like the team and the coaches that are out there at the dual meet type things.
Yeah.
But this reminded me of state last year.
Yeah.
State last year, massive stadium. It was the lights. I mean, the pictures that you have. I mean, there's thousands of people there watching high school kids run. It's so exciting. And so we get there, you and I cram into our spot. Like we didn't even have seats. Like we were just like against the fence where I like to be. I don't really like to sit when she races. I have like this sympathetic anxiety whenever she races, but I knew what Mackenzie wanted to do. I knew it was in her heart. I've seen how hard she trains, both with her team and then with her strength and movement coach. In her room, she does her yoga and stretching, and she works with her sports psychologist. And I mean, she puts in so much extra reps outside of her team. She cares so much about it. So this story is really powerful because so often I hear the message that you get what you work for, or you hear people say, oh, you earn that. And I remember hearing that when I was in high school and college, and I don't know why, it would always kind of rub me wrong. I didn't like this idea like, oh, you earn that, because there had been so many times in my life where I worked so hard and I thought I was going to earn what I worked hard for, and I didn't. I didn't get what I thought. I thought I would earn because I worked so hard. The painful truth is that life sometimes pans out where you work so hard. you are so committed, you are so dedicated, and things don't pan out the way that you dream them to be. And when you understand that, when you can accept that before embarking on the dream journey, and this is not just in running, it's very helpful. It's a powerful tool that you can hold in your hand when you understand the setback, the losses, the surprising letdowns. They are a part of the journey. But if you keep going, that original goal that you had in your mind, it pales in comparison to what is waiting for you. And this is really hard to explain to youth, because in youth, especially when you're middle school, high school, I mean, life is so big. It's so massive in its value as it pertains to just that day and your friends, right? Your relationships, like everything is a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to get a big life perspective, to think about a 5-year plan. You can't really explain that to a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old. And so everything feels heavy, and everything feels like, I've seen Mackenzie just break down in tears at a dual meet. And it would be really easy as a mom to be like, seriously, Ken's, like, it's just a dual meet, like, get over it, like, come on. And sometimes you do have to have those tough love talks. But I think when you can go alongside someone that's struggling in a journey and they're like, I'm not reaching that A goal, and this is uncomfortable and I'm disappointed, listening and then just encouraging that even though you're not reaching or getting to what you want to, all of this that you're doing matters. It's building towards something greater. Mackenzie took a huge risk on Saturday night. We had the top ranked 3,200 meter runners in the nation in that race. And Mackenzie last year got 7th in the state for that race. So she's top ranked too. She's not 1, 2, and 3 though in the nation. And when that gun went off, she went straight to the front. She was like 1, 2. And I remember I was on the back half of the track, like at the, 250 meters left kind of spot. And I remember seeing her and knowing right away, okay, I know that's not where she wants to be, right up front, right away. It's going to go out so hot. It's going to go out so fast. And that first mile was fast. Yeah. I think they ran like a 5-minute mile just out the get-go. And usually you run the second mile faster for that, the strategy. And, the announcer coming through was, we thought there'd be a lot of girls going in sub 10 minutes. And here Mackenzie's trying to best that 10:22. So we're trying to figure out like, okay, where is she going to settle in to secure that spot where she can run the second mile pretty fast. And I see she's running this first mile really fast, and I'm screaming my brains out every time she comes around. And she told me the other day, she's like, Mom, I always hear you and I always hear my coaches. There's like thousands of people out there, and I'm just like screaming, and I know that she can hear me. And that second mile, she started to fade. She started to come back. And like my mom heart, this isn't even as a coach, it's just like my mom heart is just like bursting, because I know and I've seen everything that Mackenzie has done this whole year. I've listened to how much this race meant to her, and to see that time slip away. She ended up crossing the finish line in 10:31, which was 3 seconds slower than she ran Arcadia last year. She ran Arcadia last year in 10:29. So it was like she missed her A goal of PRing. She missed, even her B goal of even getting the same time. It was a hard race. But the thing that she did right, and I think this is so important when we're working towards a goal, or we're examining a result after a race or whatever it is that we're working toward, look at all the things that you did right. And this is what we talked about at dinner last night. And I said to her, I was like, Mackenzie, I want you to know you did something last night or a couple nights ago that was very brave, and you have to count it as a win. And that is, you went out in that race like never before. You were in the most competitive 3,200 meter race probably this year, in the whole nation. Like, that's like the best of the best. And you went out and you were unafraid. You weren't ranked in the top 10, but you went out and you're like, I'm just going to try. I'm just going to try a new strategy. I'm going to try a new pace. I'm going to just try and like see what happens tonight. And I think it's so easy for us to, especially the older we get, to evaluate our talents, to evaluate what we think is valuable about ourselves and settle into that and never grow. Well, this is just the way I do things. Yeah. This is just who I am. This is the pace I always run. This is how I do work. This is the effort I put in. And kind of stay in that. You know, that idea of like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, guess what? You're not a dog. But it's easy to act like that. It's easy to say, well, this is the way that I've always done something, and so I'm just going to stay here. What happens when you stop thinking that way? What happens when you challenge yourself to do something different, to believe something different, to be courageous in the way that you see yourself? What if the reason why you haven't gone for the harder goal, or you haven't set a goal in the first place, is because you always see yourself the same way? And you see yourself as staying comfortable. You see yourself as only achieving certain things. You believe that you're only capable of certain things. And pretty soon you yourself have created what is possible, when in reality, you are capable of so much more. But you're using these cues and external feedback as ways to solidify what you believe about yourself, when in reality, you are actually capable of bursting through that ceiling. You are capable of bursting out of that mold. And guess what? There's going to be a lot of setbacks and failures as you do that. That is part of it.
Yep.
And when I was talking to Mackenzie last night about this, I said, Mackenzie, what you did last night was you overcame a mental wall. And the mental wall was, I belong here in the middle when I'm in a field of this kind of competition. Because that's what I do. This is what I run. This is how I always pace. This is how I always race. I'm going to stay here. You moved outside of that. Was the result what you wanted? No, it wasn't. But I'll tell you what, Mackenzie, you get to tweak that now. You know how to get out fast. Your leg turnover off the line is quick. She's a very powerful closer too. I would not want to be chased down by Mackenzie in a race in the last 600. You didn't get it 100% right at Arcadia, and that is okay. But if you let your brain believe that you're actually capable of more than what you thought, you're going to use that for the next race. And you still might not hit it in the next race. You might fail again. But if you keep the mindset, that courageous mindset, I'm going to go for it, I'm going to try, and I'm going to keep on trying until I figure out how to make it great. And whether that is tweaking stuff in your training, it's tweaking stuff in your pacing strategy, all the work that you are doing will one day lead to you breaking that time that you're hoping to get. But if you take Arcadia and think, see, I knew it. I'm not that fast. I shouldn't have done that. That was so dumb. No. Let's focus on what you did that was right. Let's take the pieces that were good, and then we'll tweak the other things that maybe didn't work. And let's apply the good things to the next race. Listeners, you need to understand this. Because you have a failure, because something is uncomfortable. That does not mean that you are not capable. It does not mean that you are not strong. It does not mean that you are not meant to go after it. It means that you have work to do. And you have work to do every single day of your life. And when you achieve, when you finally get to that finish line, it doesn't mean you stop. You keep going. You look back and you think, okay, what is everything that I learned? What were all the good things that I did? What were all the things that went right? Okay, let's take all that good stuff now, and now we're going to climb a bigger mountain. Now we're going to go a little bit further. Now we're going to push past the comfort zone even further. I'll tell you what, you will never know what you're capable of unless you try, unless you have that courage to believe. It takes courage to believe in yourself. It takes courage to know that if I try, I might fail. And that was the message to Mackenzie. You tried. You did not reach your A and B goals, but guess what? You get to try again, and you get to try again over and over and over again. And guess what? There is no time frame. There is no deadline of oh, well, you don't get to try anymore. The only deadline you have is that last finish line in life. And guess what? You don't know when that day is. And so why not try every single day? And that really is the strong message for today, my friends, is that you get to try. You might be thinking, like Eddie did when he first embarked on his marathon, well, this is not turning out the way that I wanted it to be. Does any of this work even matter? It's uncomfortable. But guess what you get, Eddie? You get all this feedback of what you're capable of doing. You get all this feedback of actually how much discomfort you are capable of handling. Mm-hmm. You handled 100% of your training. Mm-hmm. You handled 100% of the miles in that LA marathon. Mm-hmm. And that's why I asked you, do you regret that? Do you regret completing that marathon? The greatest accomplishment in all of that was that you kept believing despite the discomfort. That belief took you to the finish line.
Yep.
You knew that you could endure discomfort because you did every day in training. And you reached that goal of becoming a marathoner. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that.
I cannot add to that. That was one of those amen moments.
Amen.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, when I was, 8th grade, by the time I was 7th, 8th grade, I knew that the pathway for me in life was to become a professional soccer player. I was obsessed with it. I believed that was how I was going to be able to move out of the house, go to college. That was the one way I could go to college. I had to get a soccer scholarship. I thought, that's how I'm going to make my money. This is what I want to do. I worked for years, many, many years. And even after getting that soccer scholarship, going to college, from the time I started playing soccer, I was 4 years old when I first started playing soccer. I played my last game when I was 22. From 4 to 22, I was a soccer player. That was what I identified with. That is what I dreamed about. That was my A goal in life, was to be the best soccer player I could be, with the ultimate dream of playing professionally. Friends, that ultimate dream did not happen for me. But was it in vain? Was all that work, all that building, all that dreaming, was that in vain? No. And that is so important for you to understand, that what you are building in right now, you don't know where it is ultimately going to take you. Do you understand that the best goals, the best dreams that you can think up right now, that there's actually something even better than that? That's most often how life turns out. Mm-hmm. Count the number of times And it could even be right now that you have been able to say, wow, I didn't see that coming. This is a dream come true. This is better than I thought. This is more beautiful than I could have ever dreamed. This is, I could have never thought this. If you would have told me 10 years ago I'd be doing this, I would have never believed you. I didn't know this existed. Like, there's so many things in life. That's what makes life so beautiful. So the constant message for you is you have to keep working. All your work matters. And whether you think that your work is for just that one goal that you're focusing in right now, know that the work that you're doing right now, it can also be used for something greater down the road. And there's different attributes of your work that can be used for other things in your life that you may have not even encountered yet. Whether it's in relationship, in business, in sports, there's so many things that you are carving out, that you are growing in, that you are refining for your entire journey. And that's why it's so important to pay attention to your journey and not be so consumed with what other people are doing or how other people are living or the choices that other people are making. We are responsible for ourselves. We are responsible for our own work, and all of it matters. And that is just a really strong message as we see Mackenzie off to college here in just a quick 4 months. It's encouraging her that her consistent work, it always matters. Not every race is going to be a PR. Not every race is going to go well. And you're going to have heartaches and setbacks. And I think this goes especially for people that really genuinely feel like, I am working so hard, I am so committed. And it hurts even more when I miss the mark. It hurts even more when I experience loss because I put so much of myself into that. I mean, we had a friend recently that was laid off from a job, and he said, I put so much of my heart, my whole life into that company. And it's painful when you're laid off and you feel like, wow, did no one see the value in me there? Did no one understand how much I contributed? And now I'm just cast away like someone else has already filled my position. That's hard when you put your whole self into something. I'll tell you what, all that work, all that time, that energy, that heart you put in, it matters. And you're going to keep building upon that for something greater.
All right. Good place to finish, yeah?
This is a good place to finish. This is a good place to finish because how long has it been now, Ed?
It has been about an hour and 40 minutes.
Hour and 40 minutes. So we have people that are actually still running.
Yes.
They're still doing their long run. We have a lot of people that do 2 and 3 hour long runs on the weekend. So I want to speak directly to those of you that are still running right now. Make sure you take a sip of your electrolytes. If you haven't eaten anything in a while, make sure you do. Even if you don't feel like it, I promise you it'll help you finish strong. But I do want to talk specifically to those of you that are training right now. And I want to encourage you to understand that you take a lot of steps before you even get to a start line in your training. You take tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of steps before you get to that start line. But I'll tell you what, you can't be prepared for that race unless you take all those steps in your training. So regardless of how you are feeling right now, know that every step is valuable. Now, for those of you that aren't training, you're listening now as you're doing the laundry, you're sewing, you're the handyman, you are driving. This goes the same for you. Whether we're talking about relationship, in career, the mundane tasks, all of it matters. This is where character is produced. When we can't see the value in our work, when we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, we can't see how it's all going to end, when we don't understand what we're working toward, or we've just missed out on what we really wanted, showing up every day and doing something is so powerful. You're training yourself, you're crafting a character that you need later on in your story. And there's always someone watching. Isn't that the truth, Ed?
Mm-hmm.
There are people watching when we least expect it. And that could be somebody on the sidelines. It could be someone in your neighborhood. It could be somebody in your workplace, your children in your home. How you respond to everything in life, not just the highs. Man, responding to the highs is fun. Lots of smiles and joy and clapping the hands and celebrating. But how do you respond to everything else in life? And we hope, Eddie and I hope, that you believe in the work of your hands. You believe in the journey that you're on, whether it's an A goal, B goal, C goal, D goal. All of it matters because you matter. And we want to wish you an incredible week. We hope that whatever it is you're working toward, that you know you have a whole community of people rooting for you. And we hope that you keep choosing strong in all that you do.